This is Cherise from Encouragement and Enrichment Motivational Services here today to discuss anger. I am an anger management and domestic violence specialist. That is me. I try to work with individuals on how to control their anger, and I know that that is the toughest job to do. Only why? Because some people have been so angry for such a long time, they do not know how to control their anger. I was one of them. I gotta be honest. I was one of them. Somebody who can't control their anger. And to this day, I still struggle sometimes with my little ways. But you know what? I realize that I'm an introvert and I will hold it in and hold it in. And by the time it's time to come out, it's all over the sidewalk. So I want to share some tips with you that I train my clients to do, because it's important that we learn how to manage our anger. Like, come on, you don't want to be 50 talking about you having a tantrum, right? We want to be able to control ourselves and our anger, and we want to be able to address it in a healthy way. So weekly, I'm going to give tips on how to control your anger. What level of anger are you? Are you the type of person who storms off? Are you the type of person that tears up the place? Are you the type of person that says things that you don't mean? Are you grouchy? Do you shut down? Like, what is your level of anger? So each week we'll talk about the different levels of anger, and that way you can easily address them. So today we're going to talk about just basic anger, just not being able to get your point across. So express your feelings. And we want to just I'm going to give a couple of tips. So tip number one, we want to approach a situation in a healthy way. We want to address our feelings in a healthy way. To do that, hey, we have to keep it on I. When you say you, it makes it look like you're blaming the individual for you being angry. So here's an example. I am home and my husband eats the cheese. Now last week I told him that I brought me some cheese and I love my cheese, and and then he goes and he eats the cheese. And instead of me asking him about the cheese, I just was mad about it. I'm not even gonna say nothing. And so I start to rehearse the anger. If he eat my cheese one more time, I'm gonna tell him, or I'm gonna say A, B, and C because I don't want him eating my stuff, right? But who are we telling that to? We're telling that to us. We're not telling that to the person who's actually doing it, right? So then next week he eats the cheese again. Now the rehearsed anger comes to life. I'm angry because you keep on eating my cheese, and last week you ate it. See how we're combining 2 weeks worth of anger, last week and this week. So tip number one, address the anger when it happens, but have control over when you're addressing the anger, because I think having a form of self-control can really get your point across. So here how you can say it. Listen, last week, because you should have approached it last week, but just in case you didn't, last week I noticed that you ate my cheese and I was very disappointed, because we have to know the difference between anger and disappointment, and we'll talk about that another time. I was disappointed that I went to make a sandwich and I did not have any cheese to put on my sandwich. Now, sandwich is something that island people say. And then you say, please do not eat any more of my cheese, or ask me, right? Because you're letting the person know that it's about you. I'm upset because I'm upset because you ate my cheese. Not, I'm sick of you eating everything. Every time you turn around, you eat. No, because now you're not really focusing on your anger. You're blaming. And that's not what you want to do. You want to just allow the person to know that you're angry. Number two, rehearsing. When you rehearse, as you rehearse, you get more and more annoyed thinking about it. So it's best not to rehearse it. Just address it. You know, just address it. Come to terms with that it needs to be addressed. Just address it, you know. And three, don't allow the anger to linger for long periods of time. I think that a healthy relationship should, anger or issues should be squared away the moment they're addressed, and that's it. Let's not bring issues back. Like, oh, this week you're doing that, last week you did this, and 2 weeks ago, because now we're revisiting issues. You know, if once we address an issue, that door should be closed. Close it, slam, close it. Don't open it back up. Because if you open it back up, you're going to just feel hurt, you're going to be angry again, and it's just going to lead to more and more feuding. So once you address the situation and you close the door, leave it closed. I mean, what do you want to keep going back into that door for? If you keep going back into, would you keep going back into a hot room knowing it's hot? Were you in the air conditioning? Then don't keep revisiting the same thing that hurt you. And my last tip, change it. If it's something that you can't get over and you keep revisiting and you keep fussing over, try to change it. Change the situation, change the relationship, change yourself. Because the only person you can change is yourself. I mean, you cannot change the person that's doing things to you. You only can change yourself. And then that's another conversation about self-love. You have to be willing to change yourself. So those are my tips for today. Next week we'll talk about the different levels of emotion. What type of anger are you suffering from? Rage anger, disappointment, type of anger, because there's different levels of anger. I mean, rage anger is when you're throwing things, you're out of control. People don't want to be around you, Disappointment could be sort of like a sadness, where you can't believe, so we'll talk about these things. And like my page, Encouragement and Enrichment Motivational Services, you can definitely drop me an email, encouragement and enrichment at outlook.com, with any anger questions that you may have, any anger questions you can think of. I will definitely address it. We will do tips. I will probably be on location, so we can do breathing exercises and things like that, just so that you can have an idea on how to get your anger under control so people can like you. That's all for today. Encouragement and enrichment. Bye now.